Episode 2, boys. We're on a roll. We're being consistent again, aren't we, Dan?
On an absolute roll, even though my camera's not working, my mic's not working. So this probably sounds like I'm in a fucking dungeon right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just get to it, bro. These are three things you need to focus on to get any physique transformation. It doesn't matter if you're trying to cut, maintain, bulk, or whatever. These are three things that you need.
Standard, routine, longevity, and they all kind of filled in the three puzzle. If you miss one, you'll miss out on the other. And me and Dan preach this till the cows come home to all our clients. Like your standard is the backbone of everything you do in life, not just fitness, but if you want to build muscle, get crazy elite results, you've got to have a standard. And the issue nowadays, most guys have no standard at all, like with anything they do, especially with women. So that needs to change.
But you didn't have a stand up for women because you don't get any. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Behave, behave. Elite standard over here.
But yeah, like as James said, like you can't have one without the other. And we're going to run through exactly how to master each stage from building your standards, using your standards to build the routine, and then using those two to enable you to tick boxes every single week and have that longevity in the process. And this will allow you to hit your goals year after year after year. And touching very quickly on the longevity part, the only way these 3 points will make sense and work is if you expand your horizon on how quickly you want to achieve your goals. A lot of lads nowadays, they just want quick fixes. They just want to get shredded in 8 weeks. Like, and that is just not a sustainable and realistic approach to any goal. So that's why we're going to dive into all these points.
Exactly. So straight in, what even is a standard? It sounds very cringe, it's very like cliche, like what even is it? And it's basically the foundation of what makes up your decisions in life. So everything you do is going to be some sort of micro decision of like, for example, your nutrition, your habits. What standard is set in that in terms of the backbone of it, in terms of like, are you just going to eat junk food 24/7? Are you going to be the guy that prioritizes high protein meals? You're going to be the guy that literally is winging the whole kind of thing you're doing. And that is where you need a standard to make that decision because then the bar is here and then everything you do needs to make up to that kind of position. Because if you don't, then you had no standard to make decisions from. And it may sound like, how does this even help me? But when you start to reframe this way of thinking, honestly, it goes into everything you do. And there was a point where me and Dan had no standards at all in terms of fitness wise, and we kind of didn't understand why we were not making as much progress as we wanted to. We were showing up, we were being consistent, but that elite standard wasn't there. And it wasn't until we both took a hard look at ourselves and be like, what are we doing? Why do we not have this physique that we see on Instagram that's elite, that looks good, that looks great in clothes? Why do we not have that? And it's because we had no standard at all.
Yeah, it's like being at uni, like you're working hard, you're partying loads, you're trying to gym loads, but when you actually look back, it's like you're really only operating at like 30-40% capacity. Well, I was anyway, just going out, partying loads, working loads, and then just like squeezing gym in, like here and there. And then looking back now from then, it's like shit, actually, I had no standard for myself. I wasn't putting my fitness first. I wasn't, focusing on my routine. And I would definitely wasn't thinking about longevity. I was really only just thinking week by week. And like with standards, I think it's good to think of it as like a horizontal decision tree. So imagine a line just going on a graph, and every time you hit a decision that you need to make in the day, you can either make the decision to, abide to a good standard, which is going to make the decision tree go upwards, or you're going to abide to a bad decision and a bad standard, which is going to make it go downwards. So if you think about right at the start of that decision tree, it's going to be when you wake up, when you hear that alarm in the morning. That's the first decision you got to make. And are you going to, abide to your good standard and hear the alarm, wake up as soon as you hear it, go brush your teeth, stretch, get dressed, have some hydration, some quick carbohydrates, and go straight to the gym? That's the good standard, and that's going to push you up the graph. Or are you going to make the bad decision? Yeah, are you going to snooze your alarm? Are you going to say, "Oh, I'll just gym in the evening"? When we all know you're not going to gym in the evening because work have already said that they're going to go for beers. So you're obviously just going to go for the beers, and then you're going to skip the session. So each decision on that horizontal decision tree is going to have a knock-on effect to your day.
It's literally vital for everything. And I kind of love using dating analogies at the moment because it's something I'm quite interested in and it works in this sense. And guys love to date upwards because they want to beat the last standard of women they dated because it's natural. The same should go with your decisions because if you're making subpar decisions all the time, that's going to lead to a subpar life. But if you slowly build each decision, make a better improvement to that habit, to that kind of decision you're doing towards your fitness goals, then life is going to get better and better. And that better life comes down to your standards. You see these high profile guys, they got the physiques, they've got the business, they've got the everything you want. The reason why they have that is their habits, the way they operate, the way they think is to a crazy high standard. They're not different from us. They just have better standards. And that's something me and Dan reevaluated, considering when we were at uni, we were just kind of coasting, drinking all the time, which don't get me wrong, made some great memories. I do not regret that. But we were just working at like 20, 30% of what we could have been. And now we kind of reevaluated that and upped our standards. And now it's downstream from everything we do, not just in fitness, in like just the way we are as people. And even in like a year or 2 years, that standard has got better and better. Because if you look about how long ago was June? Probably like 5 months ago. But me and Dan both did a photo shoot and took our physique to a place which was pretty extreme because we wanted to boost our standard and actually show you guys what is possible. And that is the highest standard I've held myself into anything that I've done. And it was fucking hard, being completely honest, sticking to that diet, getting to crazy photo shoot condition. And I'm sure Dan will kind of preach the same, but that has changed our standard for the greater good now.
100%. And like on that point, when you prove to yourself that you have the capabilities to have that standard so high, it's like a snowball going down the hill. It's just going to escalate and build. And it's just proving to yourself that you have that self-respect for yourself. And that, like, in today's day and age, especially as a man, like having self-respect and having respect from others is like super important. Like, it's like top level important, especially self-respect for yourself, because that gives you the confidence to do things that you actually want to do. That gives you the confidence to do things that, you're laid in bed at night at like 1 a.m. You're like toying with ideas of things that you want to do with your life. And the only way that that's going to happen is if you set the standards that you want it in your life and allow that to build the self-belief and the self-respect that you have for yourself and allow you to actually make action on that.
Exactly. And you have like those friends which you're like, oh yeah, he's a bit of a beast. He's always busy. He's always working. That guy has a standard. And that's why there's always people in your friendship group that are always going to be training, always going to be doing hard things, marathons, climbing mountains, working on in their career, something like that. And you're just like, oh, I wish I could be that. But the only reason they just have a crazy high standard. And why would you not want to be that guy? Like me and Dan want to be that coach. We want to be that friend and be like, yeah, those guys they're always getting after it. They're always dialed in. Yes, they know how to enjoy themselves and have downtime, but 90% of the time they're living to that standard of getting after it. And as a guy, as a masculine guy, that's what you should be doing because if you have no standard, then you are just coasting. And 9 times out of 10, most people that are lost have no standard in life. So yeah, we can literally preach this all day. Have some sort of standard. If you don't know where to start, find the guy you want to be. He has the life, he has the physique, see what his habits are like, and that is his standard. And it may be hard to kind of implement that straight away, but if you build that standard up week after week, day after day, then you can live like that as well. But don't get me wrong, like the first few days, few weeks, it's difficult because it's something you've probably never lived by. But the more you up things, the better person you'll be and the better physique, the better results you can kind of facilitate from that.
And also, like, there's nothing different between who you are and who the person that James was just explaining. Like, you'll see people in your life and you're like, holy shit, like, how are they achieving all those things? There's literally nothing different between you and him. The only difference is the micro decisions that he's making every single day, which are pushing him away and further away from the pack. So think like the person that you're seeing that you want to be, or the person that you're envisioning yourself to be in your head, every single time he needs to make a micro decision, it's going to be, one which holds the highest standard. So waking up in the morning, that person is waking up straight away. He is going to the gym, he's getting his session in, he's eating lots of healthy food, he's staying hydrated. These are the building blocks of your life. And if you're not doing that, then you're just never going to become that person. But that should give you hope because it's so fucking easy. Like it's so like actionable and it's just something that you can do as a man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like reframing your identity because people will know the past you of going out, going to uni. Me and Dan had to kill that past James and Dan. Like when I was at uni, I was the guy known, always up for a night out, always ready to go out and get smashed, always ready for it. People would message and be like, "You want to go out?" I was like, "Yeah, sure," because I was that guy. But I literally had to kill that guy, and now I'm 27, 26. At my age now, people are not messaging me because I know I'll say no because I'm too busy like working on my physique, working on the business, being the best coach, getting results because that's what brings me value now and that's holds to my standard. But you do have to completely kill that old guy if that's not bringing value to yourself or who you want to be. Because at the end of the day, you need to understand what type of person do you want to be, what type of guy do you want to be. And if it's not kind of leading your if you're not kind of leading that guy right now, then like where are you going? Like what are you doing?
And also, like an interesting point James has said about like the identity, it's like when you start making those positive switches with your standard, you will go from the person that James said, so the guy that always saying like, yeah, let's go get smashed, like, yeah, let's go do X, yeah, let's go do Y. And when you start making those micro decisions and moving your identity away from those people, you'll feel a lot of friction from the people that you used to talk to previously. And that kind of like middle ground it's spoken about a lot in like today's society, but it's like that, like lost era where you're trying to break away from old habits and old identities, and the people that were there previously are trying to drag you back. But it's down to you and it's down to your stand and it's down to your self-belief and self-respect to keep making those micro decisions to keep getting further and further away from your old identity and further towards your new one.
Yeah, it's actually crazy when you think of it, like the shift that can happen if you really take yourself there. But at the end of the day, this is not for everyone. This is for the people that want to improve themselves and actually go to their grave being the best version of themselves. Because that's exactly what I want to do, and that's exactly how we live.
Yeah,
It's
for
not
sure.
it's not for just mediocre because being mediocre is so easy just fit in with everyone else. But also it's so easy to be better than everyone else just by doing these things, by having a standard, which is why we're kind of so passionate about it.
Yeah. So then moving on to the routine, once your standards are embedded into your routine and once they're in check, you can use that to guide your routine. So your routine needs to be reverse engineered from your top line goals. So that's not just your fitness, that could be anything. That could be goals with relationships, that could be goals with your work, your professional life, and things like that. So, for example, say you've got a super busy work schedule and you've also got a big physique goal that you want to achieve, that is going to dictate your whole routine. That's going to dictate the time that you need to get up. That's going to dictate the amount of food that you need to eat. That's going to dictate how on point that you need to be with food prepping and your nutrition. That's going to dictate when you train. That's going to dictate how you train. So understanding your goal, your top line goals, and then reverse engineering them back into your routine will allow you to like look at your whole schedule and be okay, today I need to do X, Y, and Z to get to that end goal. And that just gives you that pure clarity, which I personally really need. Like I need that clarity and vision for like my whole week. And I need to know like every single thing that I'm doing in my week is either pushing me, closer to my relationship with Molly, or it's bringing me closer to my goals with the business with James, or it's bringing me closer to my physique goals, or it's bringing me closer to, one of my goals that me and James at the start of the year we wrote down our goals, and one of my goals was to take my parents out for dinner more. So what do I need to do to do that? I need to be more financially set. Okay, so what do I need to do to be more financially set? I need to make sure that everything I'm doing in my working day is pushing towards that. So like it's not all about just fucking grind, money, money, blah, 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 blah. It's actually understanding like what you want. And like it could be anything. It could be you want to go every year you want to take a week or two off and go climb a huge mountain in like fucking Nepal or something. And that's going to cost a lot of money and you're going to need a lot of time. Well, what do you need to do in your week to allow you to do that, in a few months' time? So being really clear and having clarity with your goals will allow you to reverse engineer your routine. And then within your routine, the exact standards that you need in that routine to get you there.
Yeah, 100% agree. And this is the way you should be able to operate with that standard and not use, for example, being too busy as an excuse in your routine to not nurture relationships, not see your missus, not see your family, just diving into work, which is what a lot of guys do because they have no time management. They're not using any sort of systems to operate at a high standard. And you're busy, me and Dan are busy. You have to have some sort of way of managing your time or the weeks are just going to run away from you every single time and you won't have anything to prioritize in terms of where you want to get to building a physique. And we speak to guys in DMs all the time. The biggest objection is I don't have time, I'm busy with work, I'll start next week. And that's just an excuse. It's a time management issue. You don't have any system to manage your own time. You don't know where you're coming or going, and you're just winging it. And you wonder why you feel like shit, you're out of shape. Some people are depressed. They're not working on anything because they're just literally winging their whole routine. And it may sound so little, just a routine, is actually going to make you feel depressed. But honestly, we are creatures of habit. We love a routine, especially when you go away on holiday and then you get to the back end of it, you're like, oh, I'm just craving some sort of routine. That is why, because we are creatures of habit, like I've just said. And I don't know about you guys, but me and Dan, we both love our routine. And it's because we've operated it at a high standard, we manage our time well, and it's working towards our bigger goals of relationships, financial, physique development, because we've actually planned it out in that way. So you have to be very meticulated. That's not even a word. You have to be very, I don't even know what the word is for
Uh,
it.
m- m-
It's something like that. You guys know what I mean, but you gotta be like
yeah,
that. You
something
gotta be
like that.
you gotta be like that with your routine because it's gotta be dialed in, or you don't know where you're gonna go with your time. And at the end of the day, we ain't getting any younger. Time is the only thing you have, which is the most precious thing. And yeah, have some sort of routine with that standard in mind, and it means you can kind of balance everything quite well.
Yeah. And then the third point that we mentioned, so you've got your standards, which are the building blocks of your day. You use that to build your routine, and alongside that, you reverse engineer your top line goals to build out your routine and to understand exactly what you need to do day in, week out, to understand exactly what you need to do. And then the most important part, in my opinion, is understanding that all these goals that you've set, that you're reverse engineering, they're not going to get completed today. They're not going to get completed next week. They're not going to get complete this year, probably. It's longevity. It's understanding that all these goals, they're probably a few years long, and they should be because having those top line goals and having those big goals that even seem unachievable is what allows you to, every time you hit that micro decision on that tree, you're just going to be making those positive decisions because in the back of your head, you're like, well, I have this crazy physique that I want to reach, and it's going to take years and years of consistency and focusing on longevity. I've got this relationship that I want to nurture for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And that's not a goal that's achieved in a year. That's something that needs to be worked on over decades even. So focusing on longevity and most importantly, having that mindset switch where it's like, okay, these goals aren't going to get achieved quickly. I need to take myself out of this, instant gratification mindset and be like, okay, this is going to take a fucking long time. Let's just tick boxes every single week and have clarity in the vision to understand that, yeah, this routine's actually going to get me there.
Yeah, 100%. And people overestimate what they can do in 2 to 3 months and then underestimate what they can do in 1 to 2 years because the amount of progress you can make if you think long term in a year and a half, 2 years is crazy compared to 3 months because people will think short term, right, I've got a holiday in summer, I want to drop 10 kg. And they come to us where it's like, come on, mate, like, that's not achievable without some kind of like crash diet. And the thing is, because people want everything quickly, they think short term, they want quick fixes. But that's not what we do at Platinum. We think long term, we think bigger. We want this to be a lifestyle, physique development, the way you eat, your habits, the way you think, it should be a lifestyle. It's not just a thing you pick up for when you have a holiday or when you suddenly want to get in shape. You want to be able to maintain a good physique for life. You want to be the guy going into your 30s in great shape, going into your 40s in great shape, being the guy that's dropping your kids off at school and everyone's like, oh, he's looking good, isn't he, for his age? That's who you want to be. And if you don't, then I don't get it. Like that's not a role model your kids will look up to.
Yeah, yeah. Even that in itself is a sick goal. Like even
Yeah.
just having like a goal as a goal as I want my goal to be in 10 years, I'll be dropping my kids off at school and all the parents be like, who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, who is that hybrid
That is a
looking
sick goal.
stud? Yeah, mate, that's so good. And imagine being able to take your kids to the gym, like for the first time, like show them the ropes and just I think that'd be so cool. And that is
Yeah.
probably one of my big life goals.
Yeah. There's actually this guy that takes his like she looks maybe like early teens daughter into the gym with him, and he's just like having fun with them, lifting weights, and it's like always brings a smile to my face. It's like that is a fucking sick. That's so fun. That's so cool. And it just like makes me want to like have loads of kids.
Yeah, 100%. That's just elite parenting, being able to be in that shape. And the thing is, it demands more respect from your children, from your peers, people around you. I remember that the days when I was small, shy, skinny, nobody respected me. Like I barely even got a people didn't know who I was because I had no value. Not just from like a physique point of view, but because I just wasn't myself. And when I finally started going to the gym, that was the catalyst for not only me to build my physique, to build myself. And it sounds like very like cliche, but I owe everything to the gym for who I am today because it allowed me to grow as a person. And now it demands respect from other people because me and Dan have built, like, not to toot our own horns or anything, we've built decent physiques. And now we help other guys do the same. And people respect that because it's hard. You can see the work we put in over decades of being in the gym. And I think that's something that's pretty cool because you can't buy that, which is the best thing about it. You can't buy a physique. Yes, you can jump on the steroids, you can do that, but you still got to work your ass off for it as well, which is such a big sort of trophy to carry around.
Yeah, I mean, like I guess more of like a top line point is like having goals you can't buy is like sick. So like for example, having a sick physique, or for example, being that guy rocking up at your fucking kid's school and everyone's
Mm.
like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
I mean, he's 40 and he's looking like fucking 25. Like that's a sick goal. And like James touched on, the coaching and platinum and things like that, and it's like me and James would have never got to anywhere we are right now without each other and without having, people around us to support us for those long-term goals and so to support the longevity vision that we have, and also to like snap us back into gear, when we feel like falling short and feeling like not, setting that stand for ourselves. And that's exactly what we've built in Platinum. And we're nurturing the relationships with all the lads in the Platinum community to, not only receive the support from us, but also to support each other and just kind of like nurturing a really strong brotherhood almost.
Yeah, and you literally can't fail when you have that group of guys around you. And every single guy nowadays, they are craving this sort of pack mentality, this brotherhood, especially since like the COVID years. People want that sense of the brothers around them. And honestly, it's like a big goal of us to bring everyone together as well, which is what we did earlier this year as well, which was pretty cool with the client meetup. And everyone loved it. And that's what we're going to be doing again and again. And just having that environment can set you apart to achieve more than you truly think. And yeah, what is class? Me and Dan do have that relationship. We have all our mates around us as well. We both have coaches because that is the standard we live by now, and our clients are doing the same thing. So it all goes hand in hand, these 3 points.
Yeah. And like people say it's sometimes weird that we have coaches, but like that's I guess one like quite small-minded viewpoint on it. The other viewpoint that we have is like we'd be a massive hypocrite if we didn't have coaches because we preach, having the people around us to take us to the next level. We preach, having that support network, and we preach, taking our own progress out of our hands and putting it into someone else, which will guarantee us not to fail. So just having those people around you is so important.
Exactly. And especially when life is busy, social occasions coming up, it's so easy just to slack. Even sometimes me and Dan will be like, oh, we've got a busy week. I can't be bothered to do this. But when you have a coach that number one you're paying for and that provides the accountability and that can give you the kick up the arse 24/7, then the power of coaching is endless because it helps in so many different ways. Because at the end of the day, coaching is anyone can like give you macros, can give you a plan, but you are managing people, and that's what we do a lot. We are managing people. We're not managing robots as well, real people with real jobs, real situations. And that's the benefit of having a coach because we always have your best goals, your best interests at sight to kind of push things forward. So
Yeah.
yeah, honestly, like I will never stop preaching about having a coach, and me and Dan will probably always have a coach because we see the value in it.
Yeah. So just to recap, standards, routine, and longevity. So you begin with your standards. Every single waking decision that you make, is it, are you making the good decision to push yourself further up that decision tree, or are you making the bad decision to push yourself further away from the person that you want to be? Your routine. Are you reverse engineering your goals to understanding exactly what you need to do day in, day out within the routine and the standards that you need to set within your routine? And then mentally taking yourself out of a short-term mindset and thinking, okay, these goals, they're not going to be achieved in 6, 12 months. They're years and years of graft, longevity, and having the right people around you.
Yeah, if you start thinking like that, your progress will be absolutely insane. And the way you are, the way you live, everyone around you, they'll see the standard and you'll be such a high value guy, which is amazing to say.
Yeah. So that's it from us, lads. Episode 2 done and dusted. Catch us for episode 3 in a week or so.
Yeah.
And in a bit, boys.
See you later, fellas.